Hey guys, back in the garage again after a short little break, working on the old blue Willys here, making a gas tank. And we've got the template now transferred to the stainless steel. You can see some of that in the opening there, but to go over it in a little more detail, you can see how everything was transferred. I'm going to go over some tips and tricks on this, kind of to keep things straight and organized. So the big things I like to do, so let's see here if I can get you guys turned around here so I don't have to hold the camera at the same time. So basically what we did is we transferred a template that was larger than this one. So this is the second template that we'll be doing, but this is much the same. So this was the template we pulled off the foam buck, and basically it has all the bends and everything marked on it. So what we did was we stuck this to the stainless steel with a lot of these. See if that'll focus or not. I gotta do the hand thing. I don't know. I saw somebody do that once. It seemed to work. But anyways, these are little 3/4 inch neodymium magnets. This stainless is still magnetic, so we can use that to hold the template. So once we get the template out and laid completely flat, it's important to use a lot of magnets so you don't have a lot of waviness, because that affects the length of the part. So you want to try and hold it down as much as you can. See if I can show you guys a little more detail here. So when we're doing this, we want to hold this as flat as possible. So that generally means using a lot of magnets. I think I used probably 15 magnets. You can buy them in bulk on eBay, Amazon, I believe. They're super handy to have around for a whole bunch of other stuff. But so basically what that lets us do is hold it flat. Then we can mark around the perimeter. I like using these Milwaukee permanent markers, basically the Milwaukee version of a Sharpie. They do make these. I think these last a little bit longer than the Sharpie these days. The exception being the Sharpie Extremes. Those seem to last pretty good. I do like these blue ones specifically on new metal. I think it shows up a little bit brighter, at least to my eyes, than black a lot of times. So I like these blue ones, just something different. So that's what I use for marking around the edge of the part and for notes in general. But I will say one very important trick that I'd like to show you is that don't use the same color for the bend lines. So you can see here that basically the bend lines are black and the cut lines are blue. So this helps avoid mistakes, and I definitely take my time and try and mark out everything with a lot of notes and details, so that I keep everything straight for the cutting so I don't accidentally cut on a bend line. And so to do that, one trick I've found, so on these templates, usually when you unfold them, the corners aren't, or basically where it was a corner isn't super perfect because of the stretch, if you will, in the corner. So what you end up with are these little tiny, if you do a good job, they're about probably between a 32nd and a 16th wide. And you can use one of these very small tipped retractable Sharpies that has this very, very small point on it to reach between those two pieces of the template and mark the bend line. So this, for me, is a lot more accurate than trying to mark the ends and then transfer through the bend and all that stuff. So I will go through and mark as many spots as I can with this little thin black. So it's an opposite, it's another color in the bend lines. And that keeps everything organized. and these are thin enough to reach through those small gaps. Then I'll go back through and just take a regular black permanent marker and put all the bend notes in larger text, if you will. One thing to watch out for is that generally when we're doing these complex templates, with the way the way this one was built and marked to drape over the part, is we have to go through and remember to reverse all the up and down notes on the bends, because we are building the template from the bottom, if you will, and basically so everything is going to bend up now, which is how the bender generally works, is you're always going to be bending up, and you will always start on the outside of the part generally and work in if you can. There are some limitations with that. The electro brake or the electromagnetic brake helps with that, but generally I find it the best to work up and in from the outside. So that's just a couple tips and tricks. We are gonna, one other thing too, I mentioned the other day that I got a couple comments on, is these small holes where multiple bends come together. If you don't do a small relief there, you basically end up with a pinch or a tear of material that's harder to bend in those corners and keep everything neat. So I'll put that little 3/16 hole in any of the areas where I have multiple bends come together, and that gives me a little bit of relief in that corner for bending. I find that's easier to get all the corners together. So yeah, that's about it for now. We are going to, next step will be to cut this whole thing out, the major template, and then we will start bending on the mag brake. So hope you stick around and check out some tips and tricks on how to do that. I think I'm going to plasma cut most of this just because it's long straight lines. It should work pretty easy. It's fairly easy to clean up in this thickness. You don't get a lot of dross. And we'll go from there. All right, thanks for following along, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye.